Oh yeah, you are listening to All Burgundy and Gold, everything powered by the Urban Sports Team of Fox Sports Radio, 96.9 FM and 1340 AM. Hopewell, Virginia. I'm Wole, and I'm joined with my co-hosts George and Ray. The homies, the homie Mo is out, and we're going to be expecting the homie Glen later. What's going on, fellas?
George, you good?
Yeah, I'm all right. It's been a hell of a day. It's been a hell of a day in Commanders land. I did not see today. I did not see either piece of news coming. The first one was, I'm sure we'll spend a minute or two on, was certainly understandable. I did not see what's going to be the main topic coming tonight at all. So I got to hold my hands up because there were some content creators who were kind of onto this from the start, and they were proven to be correct.
Oh, actually, our guest was on it too. I was talking to her at camp, and she was definitely on it early. And I was trying to downplay it, but she was definitely on it. I don't want to keep her waiting. So real quick, hey, mention our particulars. They subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts. Just search All Burgundy and Gold or everything. Also tweet us at ABG_everything and hit us up on IG at ABG_everything. And like our All Burgundy and Gold everything Facebook page. If you're watching this on YouTube right now, hit that red subscribe button and also like this video. We went over 400, so I appreciate y'all. Now we're trying to get to 500. Y'all got us to 400. Now it's time to get to 500. So I appreciate y'all for doing the darn thing for real, because y'all the real MVPs. All right, man, it's time for the pregame. Here's what we have on tap. Tony McGee's Pro Football Plus Commanders reporter Donna Hopkins will join us to talk about the Commanders trading Jahan Dotson to the Eagles. Also, the vibe at camp after the trade, and a preview of Sunday's final preseason game against the New England Patriots. Well, let me introduce Donna onto the show. What's going on, Donna?
What's up, everybody? Hey, Wally, I told you yesterday to stop cutting up.
I told
He had to bring me on because, you know what? I called him early today.
Yes,
I said he must have been looking for my phone call.
I was, because you were talking about him, Lake and I you were convincing me and Lake. Well, you were telling me and Lake like he's in trouble. You basically said he's in trouble, and Lord and behold, it went down. It definitely went down, and I'm surprised. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was surprised when I got that alert. I think I got a text from a friend. I got the alert, and I was like, okay, he's out of here. But let's get into it. Just dive right into it. The Washington Commanders traded Jahan Dotson to the Philadelphia Eagles for I think a fifth round pick. And also in exchange for a 2025 third round pick and 2 seventh round picks. Donna, your thoughts on the trade?
I mean, with this team right now, it's nobody is safe. As I was stating the other day, it doesn't matter if you're the number one draft pick, no matter where you fall in the equation, is that this coaching staff needs players to step up and produce. And they were trying to navigate in helping. This is the thing that people don't understand. This coaching staff is a teaching coaching staff, and they've tried to put everybody in position to look at where do they best fit. Trying to put them on this team, will them on this team. And John, he was back there as a punt returner. They were trying to navigate of who's going to be the punt returner. The wide receiver they were talking about over the last few weeks is trying to find out beyond Terry McLaurin who are those next guys that's going to stick that stick out. And Jahan was one of the guys that, to me, just never looked comfortable from training camps through the preseason games. He never looked comfortable. The year one, everybody was talking about, hey, he exploded on the scenes in year number one, but last year, not so much. He fell off, and it could be a combination of the coaching staff and all of that, but that couldn't be the case this year when they've got a great coaching staff that really puts players in position. But anytime that you're hearing a receiver of Jahan's caliber, and I'm not taking away from Jahan's talent because I think he's really talented. I think he's got the tools to be a good receiver, but something happened between last year and this year that you didn't even see that come out of him. And, down in Miami, when I interviewed him, he was saying that he was still trying to as far as his confidence. And I'm thinking like
Mm.
confidence at this point, your confidence should not be questioned as far as you trying to figure out or get those back and all of that. And again, I'm not throwing off on Jahan because I think he's an excellent receiver. Look, he's going to the Philadelphia Eagles. They are
Yeah,
loaded
they're
there.
loaded. Yeah.
Not crying about anything because he's still in a good position. Now he still has to go up there and produce, but they've got solid receivers all the way around. So maybe some of the pressure won't be on him to have to be able to immediately, show what he could do. But I just think that he never looked comfortable in this offense.
Yeah, I agree. And I think he's going to which your point about going to Philadelphia. He's going to a place where he's playing with AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. So there's a lot of he won't have that much pressure on him compared to this situation. You know what I mean? Like, he's going to get he's going to get more single coverage than he ever got before, and he's going to see lesser cornerback checking him because you're going to be worried about doubling AJ Brown. You're going to be worried about obviously Devontae Smith going deep. So Jahan is like probably the fourth option because you got Goddard, the tight end, but he's the third receiver. He's already labeled. He's already penciled in on the depth chart, the official the depth chart that he's already the third receiver on their depth chart already. So I just think that there's going to be a situation for him to kind of be to do a lot of work because it's going to be less pressure on him compared to here.
Yeah, most definitely, because I think he was putting a lot of pressure on himself.
Mm-hmm.
I think that he never looked like he was relaxed, where he could just go out and be Jahan, the receiver that everybody was projecting him to be, the receiver that everybody saw a glimpse of in the first year. But this year when you looked at him, it just looks like he was a little lost out there, to figure out things and navigate things. And like I said, this coaching staff, put everybody. I mean, they constantly talked about we're looking at every player to see where they best fit. We're changing them around. We're putting them in different positions. And punt returner was wide open.
Yeah.
That Jamison Crowder, I see him being on this team because he's the most solid guy that they've got as far as their punt returner right now. But I think the wide receiver group now is still with a big question mark of, who's going to, you're looking at other teams, defensive teams. They're going to look at the Commanders' wide receivers. Are you going to be afraid? Are you going to be afraid of those?
Nah, not at all.
So they're still figuring out. I think De'Ami Brown stepped up the last couple of weeks. You saw some flashes of him.
Yeah.
I think other guys have to step up. But the question still is that it's game day. Can you go out? It doesn't matter about practice. It doesn't matter about the preseason. Game day, are you going to go out and produce? And that's what these coaches are looking at. If they constantly say we've got to look, and it's going to be some more changes before cut down day. It's going to be some surprises. If you thought, Wally, that you were surprised today and shocked, I don't know. Hey guys, I don't know why Wally was so shocked. It just came probably a little earlier because they were probably already putting some of this stuff into place. Now, I don't think Philadelphia gave up enough for Jahan, and the only reason why they probably didn't is because he didn't produce for them to say, hey, this guy can come in. You're talking about where he's going to be on the depth chart. That's the reason why the Eagles didn't have to give up much. But again, I still think Jahan is a solid receiver. He just got to get out of his own head right now.
I agree. Go ahead, Ray.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
I'm just making sure.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just making sure I'm not frozen because you know how the internet is. Donna, good to see you again. It's always fun. First of all, I want to give my pleasantry across, but I am a Jahan Dotson defender. Yeah. I'm actually on YouTube basically saying last season that he could have replaced Terry as the number one receiver. I think he's that good. And I agree with everything you're saying. A 4-13 team. George, we've been saying for weeks, nobody should be safe except for maybe like a Terry McLaurin. But anyway, I want to, first of all, as a Jahan defender, specify this isn't a Trey Lance situation. Jahan has already shown what he can do. He's already shown his rookie year plus balls. He's shown the type of receiver he can be. So, yes, it's a new regime. So I just want to put it out there that, like you said, he is a talented guy. But I feel like, Donna, as a Jahan defender, that there's a narrative out here. Like Bleacher Report has already posted a story. Is Luke McCaffrey now a fantasy pickup? I'm like, hold on. Where he is on the depth chart, I just feel like the world was against Jahan in Commander Land. I feel like there's a narrative, and I don't like what I'm seeing.
Well, let me just say this. They should not be in the same conversation because Luke McCaffrey is a rookie. Luke McCaffrey is still trying to get a hold of grasp of this offense too. Can he be a good receiver? I don't know. I haven't seen enough in the NFL. Was he good in college and so forth? That doesn't matter. College is college. Pros is the pros. But back to Jahan, what you were talking about, what people try to hold on to, what you did in college, because Jahan talked a lot about that college. Well, you ain't in college no more. That was college. You're talking about what he did the first year. So we know what he could do, but the first year don't even matter because that was the first year under different coaches, different quarterbacks and so forth. If you can't grasp a hold of something with Jaden Daniels and the way, the balls that he's throwing and finally you got a solid quarterback, then some of this is you. I just think that Jahan was in his own head, and I'm not taking away from his skill set, but people have to let go year one. That's what he did in year one. He didn't do that in year three. That's year two. I think that was some of the coaching and all of that, but Jahan was dropping balls. Coaching, they got nothing to do with you not catching balls. So you have to put some of the weight on Jahan's shoulders. Also is, he was not the same player that you saw in year number one. Last year was a telltale of, whether it was coaching, whether it was whatever. Still, you came in fresh with this coaching staff right now. And, I know you're a big fan of Jahan. I am a big fan of Jahan. I wanted him to succeed. But at the end of the day, how are you helping this team to move forward to get prepared for the opening season? And I don't think that he was able to do that. I mean, this is a long stretch. OTAs, veteran mini camps, the whole training camp, preseason, all of that. Everybody has come into the same rim with this new coaching staff, and everybody has to get on the same page. And for whatever reason, his page was stuck some. Him really bringing out the talent that we know that he's probably got. So that's why I constantly say that it's not that he doesn't have the talent, but he's talking about confidence. Still trying to. He said he told me he's working on his game every day. And I believe that to be true. But something was missing. I don't know what was happening of why he was stumbling out of the blocks and why he continued to stumble where the person that we're talking about with the talent just did not step forward.
But I mean, I'm gonna read something Paul said. Paul said the league figured him out. The league figured him out. You put hands on him because he doesn't have functional strength. This is all I want to respond to that.
Okay.
You can move. You can avoid that with you can change that up. If somebody isn't getting off press correctly, you can work around that because folks have done like Deshaun Jackson wasn't beating press like that for real. Like they moved him around to get him free, and then he can then utilize the speed. So like I don't get into all that. Like he just had a bad year last year. Like that's what it was. He just had a bad year. Like to Donna's point, like he was definitely in his head. Like it's not a thing about he got open, he beat some press coverages, he got open, he just dropped some footballs. You can't say he couldn't beat physicality. He was dropping footballs. He was really in his own head to a point where some folks think that like EB may have like damaged him a little bit, and whatever that means. I'm not saying he did or didn't, but some folks believe in that. I'm just saying like I totally agree with you, Donna. Like he was definitely in his head, like to a point where when he got open, he dropped some footballs. Now, granted, like I'm with Ray. I'm a believer in Jahan. I think Jahan has a lot of ability. I do, but I do agree with you too that it's mental. It's not a physical thing. It's not it's a mental thing. If you watch him in camp, a lot of and Donna's watched it. Other reporters watched it. Former players have watched it. It's not a physical thing. It's such a mental thing. It's ridiculous.
He looked like he's lost his confidence right now.
There you go. Yeah.
When you really look at him and you even watch him on the sidelines and he's just walking. Jahan is a quiet person anyway, but you could tell from his happy-go-lucky self, his smiling and whatever all the time. I didn't see that all training. I didn't see that bubbly guy that even if he wasn't going to talk to you a lot, he was smiling a lot. You saw the energy and all of that. But something has made him lose his confidence, and I don't know where it is. It's something that he has to work through. I don't know if the coaches can, because these coaches will coach him up, but he literally has to work through whatever is going on as far as the confidence right now, because I think that is totally what it is. If he gets past this, you're going to see that Jahan that you saw the first year.
Ray, Donna, you want to say something? Yeah, go ahead.
Real quick, and I promise you, I won't talk again to my question. But I want to say, I just want to say that there's a narrative created on this show. Wole knows what I'm talking about. Shout out to my guy Big Doug. He mentioned how the previous regime was arrogant, and I feel like this is a new start with Adam Peters. I love what he's doing. I even like the bold Jahan move, even though I'm a Jahan fan. However, is it an arrogant move? What does it say about the Commanders right now to move him in your division, knowing he is learning the playbook, knowing that Philly is already your biggest threat in the division? Why would you make that move? And what does that say about Jahan? What's the statement the Commanders are trying to make? Was that the only offer they could take?
It could have been, because this is a deal that probably has been in the works, not just with the Philadelphia Eagles, but they probably, Adam Peters has put this out among other teams to see what he could get for Jahan, because they probably say, if we're going to move him, we're going to have to move him now. Now, I agree with you, Ray, about I don't want nobody to end up going to the Philadelphia Eagles, the Dallas Cowboys, and the New York Giants. Not anybody that you have to meet in the division, but at the end of the day, it's business. So if they're the only team that was able to give them what they got, then you almost have to make that move. But guess what? You got CeeDee Lamb out there, and you got other receivers out there that the Commanders might be looking at that we don't even know, because he hasn't signed with Dallas. And I got to give Candy Waller her props, because she was talking about that today, about CeeDee Lamb and some of the other guys that might be out there that haven't signed with teams that, the Commanders, let me tell you, before this is all done, they're going to get another receiver in here. And when the cut down come, we know how many people, big name people that may be on that list come down to cut down day that this Commanders team can swoop up. But look, not only do they have the problem with the wide receiver, we were talking about Jahan, and that's been the big news, but how about a kicker?
They just got one.
You just let go the second person, and we still don't have, they brought in another person because they weren't confident in that. But we got to get some other areas shored up beyond just the wide receiver. The offensive line, do you still got question marks there as far as the kickoff punt returner? You still got to solidify that. I still think Jamison Crowder is going to be that guy, but you still need backups from there. And then the secondary, we didn't even touch that. We're talking about Jahan, but we better be talking about some other positions that need a lot of help.
Chris said DQ was seeing him drop passes and not block also because of Diami. Do you think Diami was a big reason why Jahan was expendable, Donna?
No, not at all, because Diami is fighting himself, because, at the beginning, he wasn't having such a great camp. So in the last couple of weeks, you saw flashes of him. Now, the criticism of Diami Brown is that he can have great camps and whatever, but game time, the real deal, regular season,
that's the test.
Doesn't show up. So the key thing for him is he's had a couple of, pretty good preseason games where you saw him catch a few more balls. I think he had 2 back-to-back against Miami. But I don't think Diami had anything to do with Jahan being let go. Traded. I think Jahan was the reason why he got traded, and nothing to do with any other receiver, because everybody is still guess what? Diami really is like beyond OZ. well, as far as him, because he's the guy. OZ is the guy beyond Terry that has really showed flashes of what he could do. I mean, he's the one that's really having beyond Terry a really good camp, and the last probably 2 weeks, he's really shown that he's going to make this team. So I think the Army didn't have anything about Jahan. Jahan was the reason why Jahan is not on this team anymore. His confidence didn't allow him to display what he could really do as a receiver.
All right, there's no one more comment, and I'll let George go real quick. Big Deluxe, big fan of Jahan, but if he doesn't fit what they do, better to move on now instead of a year too late. Physicality seems to be the buzzword.
When you look at Jahan and his route running and so forth, I mean, he runs great routes. And I think when you really watch him, but I agree with you right there. If he's not going to fit into this team, this is the time for him to move on. So in essence, they probably helped Jahan being up there in Philly because there is no pressure on him in Philly because they've got solid receivers, like you said, 2, and then they got the tight end. So Jahan could go up there and basically be free to kind of like figure out what it is that's holding me back right now. So he's in the perfect position because in Washington, everybody was on the hot seat, and they still are as far as the wide receivers go. So I think this was a good move for the Commanders in helping Jahan to possibly catch on. But let's just say this. It's no guarantee that he's going to end up on that roster with the Philadelphia Eagles. He's going to have to show them something too because they didn't give up a whole lot for him.
That third rounder, that's enough. That third round is good, though.
Enough. As you and Lake say, number ones never get cut.
He get cut though. He got traded though. See, he didn't get cut. He got traded.
He got cut, but guess is he on this team still?
No, he got. See, he got traded. Y'all know what? I do remember the conversation now. I was like, if anything, he'll get traded. I said, if anything, he'll get traded. So he did get traded. So I was kind of right.
But even the number one, y'all was like, man, they don't get rid of number ones.
I said, I said they ain't gonna cut a number one. They were gonna cut a number one.
When number ones are not yours, you get cut.
Nobody is safe on.
No one's safe though. Nobody's safe. George, I know.
First, it's great to be on with you, Donna, because I've enjoyed your work for many years because you're honest and you're forthright and you're not BSing the public when you cover this team, and I really appreciate that. So I got a comment and 2 questions for Donna. My comment is it's pretty tough to watch you trade a 1st-round pick and a 5th-round pick for a 3rd-rounder because that's what's happened. The fact that his value is crash landed that far, particularly when even as much as he struggled, Sam Howell netted us 40 spots in the draft upwards. Which that was an amazing trade. And here we are, we're giving up on a 1st-rounder barely into his 3rd year. I'm not thrilled with that at all, but that's by the by. So my 2 questions are this. One, you sort of answered, but I feel like maybe it did affect it. I felt that part of Jahan's problem is the 2 guys who were part of the previous regime who had really struggled and people were out on have performed so well and stepped up. De'Ami Brown being one of them, but Jamin Davis being the other. They were in bad shape in terms of how the fans viewed them, and probably their confidence was down. And yet they came into camp, and have done a great job and have worked their way into the rotation potentially with this coaching staff. And Jahan didn't, and I think that did hurt Jahan. My other question is this. Brian Mitchell really I shouldn't say threw a spanner in the works because that's not fair. He had the report about he mentioned a wide receiver on his radio show was pouting and not acting like he was supposed to, and almost the entire Commander's social media said, well, that must be Jahan Dotson he's talking about. Was that true also?
Yeah, let me go back to Jamin Davis and some of the other person that you mentioned, and they worked their way up. This is the thing about Jamin Davis is that, the linebacker core is one of the strongest ones that has been in a long time. That was the weakest link for forever. But the guys that they bought in, Wagner and all of those guys, Chin and all, those guys have made that group strong. The thing about Jamin Davis is, like I had talked about before, this coaching staff was trying to figure out where players fit better, the talent that they've got, where can they pull them at in other areas. So they're trying Jamin Davis out as defensive end because I talked to Coach Norton, and he said he's the specimen of what you would want in a linebacker. He's got speed, he's got length. So therefore, the Commanders are using Jamin Davis not so much as the linebacker, like he was before, but more as a pass rusher coming off the edge. He's learning how to put his hands in the dirt. I talked to him a little earlier during training camp. So, he's got to pick up another position, plus, stay on top of the linebacker position. So you're telling this guy to, unlike Jahan Dotson, you told him to be the receiver, maybe get the punt returner. He's done that before. So you're not asking Jahan to do anything new of what he's done over his career or so forth. But you're asking Jamin Davis, hey, not only linebacker position, but you got to learn a whole new one as far as pass rushing, coming off the edge and whatever. That's a whole new position, a whole lot to throw at. He said that he's been in the classroom. So that's what I look at some of those players, that the reason why I don't know if those players are going to be on the team, but they have made some noise and got attention that, hey, they may fit over here, because this is where we're seeing that they fit even more. Will he be a starter over there as a pass rusher? No, but he doesn't have to be. But can he be a backup to help out? Yes, he can be a backup. Now, going on to the Brian Mitchell thing, I can't speak for Brian Mitchell as far as which players he was talking about, because he wasn't talking about one player. He said multiple players are looking non-punt or so forth. So it wasn't. So it could have been Jahan he was talking about. It could have been other players, but I'm not going to say who it was because Brian Mitchell didn't come out and say who it was. But this is the thing I have to say about Brian Mitchell. When you're talking about a football player that has been a winner for the Commanders and also the Philadelphia Eagles, so he understands how to assess people's body language, because he's been out there at training camp looking at players. I mean, I've seen some of the players that, to me, that I'm thinking like, ooh, you ain't giving your total effort. And if I'm seeing this, the coaches are seeing this, because the coaches are saying that they're looking at body language. They're looking at every aspect of the player. So I'm not going to say who Brian Mitchell was talking about, because I don't know who he was talking about. You would have to pull that out of him. But he did say it was multiple players. So I don't know who those players are.
Glen, what's up?
Yeah. But before we get to the next question, Donna, dealing with Jahan real quick, is it more of a Cliff Kingsbury situation, or is it more of a Dan Quinn situation? Because Jahan, they've been fighting for a number 2 receiver, right? Zacchaeus Wole, we talked yesterday when you was at camp. You told me who took most of the reps, and I was like,
Zacchaeus.
That's like, something's going on, because you're in the middle of the week. It's Wednesday, right? If Wednesday you play on this weekend, so whoever takes the reps, majority of the reps, there's writing was on the wall, right? Yeah. So his writing was on the wall there, and so got receivers. People say they're not done yet, right? Do you think Washington won or lost this trade?
They won or lost the trade as far as with Jahan?
With Jahan, do you think they won or lost? Because like y'all just mentioned, in their division, the Philadelphia Eagles now have Devontae Smith, right? You have AJ Brown, you have maybe Jahan Dotson, you have the tight end Gilbert, right?
You got it.
Got it. So you have right there, they have 4, and you play these guys twice in your own division. And let's be honest, you sent Jahan home. He went to Penn State.
Yeah, you sent him home too.
He went home.
And he is a
what better fan. What better way to recover and
they got Saquon.
Right. You got Saquon. What better way to get your mojo back, to recover and become yourself, than go back home? So my question again, did Washington win or lose this trade?
I don't think they lost, because the thing about it is they got to move past. They got to stick with players that are producing. So it's no winning or losing in this equation, because Jahan just happened to be the player that was not producing. The Philadelphia Eagles, you know, he talked about that was his favorite team growing up. But I don't think so. So you can't say Washington lost with this, and we understand the caliber of players that Eagles have on their offensive side of the ball. But if you're not producing and your team is trying to move forward to figure out who's going to be on the roster come the regular season, then you can't afford to hold on to players that not producing. It's 53-man roster. So you can't hold on to a guy and hope that he finally shows up or that he gains his confidence back. You've got to be willing to say, if we lose behind this, then we have to just eat it. But right now, they're not losing because he wasn't producing.
True.
So,
I totally agree with you. I agree with you.
That's how I'm looking at it. If I'm a general manager, if I'm a coach, I got to get players that are ready to play and that they're showing that on the field, that, you know, they're showing me what I need as far as receiver, quarterback, linebacker, whatever the position is. You've got to be able at this stage. We're a week away. We're 2 weeks away from the opening season. And if you're still trying to figure out if guys are going to finally wake up and that talent is going to come forward that we saw in year number one, you don't have that time. So you got to be willing to just, you know, take the hit if that's going to be a hit. But right now, that wasn't a hit. The Commanders, to me, had to move forward. And if it's other players, they've got to move past those guys, no matter what their names are or how much money they paid, if they were number one draft picks or anything. You've got to have players on your team that is going to produce when it counts most. And he just had not stepped up. So I don't think that the Commanders are losers in this. Even sending him, now I wouldn't send him to the Eagles still, but if the Eagles are the only team that was giving out money, you cannot afford to hold on to a player and get nothing at the end of the day and hope that finally he gets over whatever is going on in his head.
This is what I agree with. I want to say this with James Jones put out there. Got 3 picks for a fifth rounder that could get 600. Is that 600 yards this season? Is that what he's trying to say?
Yeah, that's what he's trying to say.
All right. I will say this: getting a third rounder for Jahan, I thought was pretty good. I won't even hold you. I thought that's pretty good because I think, like, what did Stephon Diggs get? What did Texas get for Stephon? What did they trade? Does anybody remember? Folks in the chat. I don't think they had to get.
I don't think it was a lot. I mean, I think they.
I don't think it was like something crazy for them. So and Stephon Diggs is way better than John.
Yeah, but Stephon Diggs also costs a lot more money.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, but in terms of quality of player,
second round pick.
What pick?
Second round pick.
A second round pick.
Yeah,
it was a second round pick for Stephon Diggs.
Commanders could use this. They're not over. This is not over yet. So they for these draft picks that they got to negotiate some other needs that may come forward. As another receiver, a big name receiver, I'm not giving up a number one draft pick for no matter who it is.
Yeah.
But it could be to their advantage because think about it. The Commanders are under the salary cap. They got draft picks and so forth. So they can utilize what they did today, getting those picks for Jahan to negotiate something that may come about, before the opening of the season, because it's going to be some good players that get cut out there.
Yes.
When cut down day come, and so teams are going to be able to swoop up some before they're able to claim them back, as far on their roster. So I'm looking at that this is not all said and done because the Commanders know that they got some key areas that they need to steal.
But Donna, that just shows you that Dan Quinn, Adam Peters, and the staff, they're not looking as most fans are as a rebuilding. They're looking to win now. Yeah. And when you got a new coach who's coming in, he's looking to win now, and you make moves. And anybody that's from the old regime, you said something that I say all the time. It is a performance-based business, and if you can't perform, then it's time for you to go. So I mean, shoot. So and Emmanuel Forbes might go ahead and start cleaning his locker. I'm just saying.
Nah. I would say I think it's the opposite. I think this shows that they are rebuilding. To be honest with you,
Not sure that
the reason
they want to compete.
No, I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why. Because this is now you're about competition. You want to see what you have in the room. I don't think this is about. I think this is a rebuild. Like this is a total rebuild. Like you want to see. You're based it on competition, not a guy off of like potential. Like this is now just competition. You got to earn it. That to me that's a rebuild mode because you're trying to create a culture now. Because Donna's talking about like the body language is bad. Well, if you're worried about wins and losses, you'll deal with a lot if you think a dude is more talented to do something. They're about here building culture. They're not waiting on him. You know what I'm saying? So to me, I think that this is total teaching. Like this is a total teaching lesson. And when you're teaching, you're not about truth be told. It's a rebuild, like it or not. You're doing with a rookie quarterback. If in essence, like your goal, if you're dealing with a rookie quarterback, normally you want a guy who's had some success. And you have Terry, Jahan, regardless of people think had some success as a rookie, he had some success. And the rest of the players are role players. What tells me now, the role players, you're like, you know what? I like the way you're competing. We're going to have you out there because you're going to teach us. You're going to help build our culture. You're going to help build our environment. And I think to me, that's what the rebuild process is.
But they're trying to win now. This is Dan Quinn's last opportunity in his.
It's a process, though. It's a process. You're looking at it. It's a process. Year one, no one's just to keep a buck. No one's expecting them to win games, bro. Of the rookie year, of Jay Dan's rookie year. No one's expecting him to be.
You don't think Harris spent billions of dollars expecting?
No, not year one. Not year one. Because year one, they would have. How much are they paying all season to get players? What are they paying all season?
Look at the staff that he assembled. You don't.
But what did they? Did they bring it? Did they bring in Brandon Ayuk?
You don't need Brandon Ayuk.
You're talking about look. You're saying if you want to win, you're talking about winning games. Did they bring in Brandon Ayuk? No, I'm telling you, like they didn't trade Jahan Dotson, and basically their number 2 wide receivers are unknown. This is a fact. This is a fact.
Your team and causing your team chaos in your locker room.
But again, this is all this. Are you telling me this is a rebuild? I'm telling you, this is a real rebuild, bro. Like it or not, this is a rebuild.
Hey, Wally, but I think that it's not a total rebuild because I think that they are rebuilding this team.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's total. I think they do want to win. That they brought in those coaches not to just twiddle their thumbs because they bought it.
I agree. No, I agree with that.
All of those guys because they immediately want to. Because I talked to them at the. I think when they brought in all the new coaches, we got a chance to talk to all of them. And I told him the first question I asked is, was it key to bring in these coaches so that you don't have to start from scratch, but you can jump start hitting the ground running?
Yeah.
And they said yes. So I think that it was a reason why they brought in these coaches to be able to coach these guys
I agree with that.
up.
Totally agree.
But I think that it is to a degree because it's got to be somewhat of a rebuild because it's a whole new regime.
Exactly. You wiped your whole roster. Yeah.
All of those, but I go back to still say it's about winning too.
No, of course. It's the way you play.
Why they're making these tough decisions. I love the fact that they had to make a tough decision. It wasn't an easy decision, probably.
Of course not. Yeah, I agree.
Hey, we got to get rid of Jahan. They're making tough decisions to say, hey, at the end of the day, we got to put players in place because we do want to win. So in order to win, it's going to be some shuffling around. So I don't think that along with rebuilding, they want to win too. And I expect them not to, these fans talking about 10 wins or so, that ain't going to really happen unless, a miracle come from somewhere that they got some more offensive linemen. They got the solid receivers.
Exactly.
They got cornerback. But I think they're going to be better than last year and the previous.
Yeah, it should be.
Because this team is going to at least compete.
That's the point. So that's the thing. That's what I'm talking about. Like, I don't think it's a wins and losses thing. It's about competing every game. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's what it's not a wins loss. Like, if Washington finishes the season winning 6 games, but they were in every game, that is that's an upward trajectory. Like, you're happy with that. Like, I know as fans, you want to go to postseason or whatever, but then your team is trending on the right direction that you're competing. Because last season you didn't compete for nothing. You got blown out a bunch of games. So to me, that's the expectation isn't because of these moves. It's for me, it's about teaching these young dudes how to play ball the right way and run their organization and compete.
You can't go on for your division. Anything is upward, right? Anything you do is upward, right? So when you change your culture in a program, you change your culture in an organization to win football games. Detroit Lions changed the culture not to win football games. The Texans changed the culture to win football games.
In year one,
changing the culture is the process. You want to get to win football games. You can call a rebuild or whatever. And guess what? On Sunday, those fans that pack the stadium don't want to hear rebuild. They want to win football games.
I agree with that. I'm saying
Magic Johnson and Harris don't want, because that's the case. Ron Rivera was doing rebuilding last year. You know what I'm saying?
You reference the Lions. Forget the Texans. That was a rebuild. That's what's happening now. What the Lions did, they're doing now. It's what Washington's doing now.
The first year he was there, they missed the playoffs by one game.
No. The first year he was there, they won like 2 games.
They were bad.
They were in every game, but they were close. And
let's talk about what the Lions have done. They build that team, and player personnel is most important. And that's what the Commanders was lacking over the years is player personnel. So they got some guys in here that can assess talent and bring in some key bodies, because Lions build that team is they build the team first around the defensive line
and offensive line. Agreed.
They put all these other
exactly. I agree with that.
As most people say, when teams are winners and whatever, it starts with the line play on both sides of the ball, and then you trickle on down with the other things. So the Lions took some time in putting together that squad and building them to be what they are today. It just didn't happen overnight. And to your point of the fans have to have a little patience to understand that it's a rebuild. It's a rebuild.
And you bring up the Lions. They were bad the first year, and they were 2-6 or 2-7 in year 2, and then got hot and almost made the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm sorry, you cannot win when you turn over nearly half the roster. 25 new players are new to this roster, so you're not winning. I mean, you can win in year 1, but it's unlikely. Let's put it that way. And this really is.
Turn a roster over, George. You turn a roster over, but you turn a roster over with new coaches. So it's not like you turn a roster over with the same guys.
No, you're right.
You're bringing a different mindset.
But you're
right. But I go back to what Donna said. This is a teaching coaching staff, and to me, this is why I compared Dan Quinn to Brett Brown in Philadelphia when he came in, because he was that coaching staff, and him in particular was not just teaching those players, but it was keeping them together during all that losing until they got good. And I think the same thing could be the case with Dan Quinn and this coaching staff.
So it's like trust the process.
Let me tell y'all about an area that you can see the improvement right off because of coaching. Anthony Lynn with the running back group.
Yes.
Let me tell you, when you look at Brian Robinson this year, oh my gosh, it's like a new breath of fresh air. The way he's running, the energy he has. And I saw Lynn work with these running backs and whatever. He has really transformed that group. And then you got Eckler that has come in. So again, when you're looking at this coaching staff, and it was a reason why they assembled this coaching staff of all-stars that have been head coaches before, is that they are really pulling out the talent in these players. I mean, I watched him work with Brian Robinson with his footwork. I saw him work with some of the other running backs. You can just tell the difference from them last year. And that's the reason why I'm talking about Jahan a little bit, is that some players have grabbed a hold of the teaching and what they're trying to do to make you a better player. But for whatever reason, again, Jahan just lost his confidence that he wasn't able to pull himself out of that. So I've seen some areas where the coaching has made the difference. The linebacker position, even with Jamin Davis, Chris Paul is another one from the offensive line that I've been watching, and I talked to him. Even the coaches are talking about his technique, and he was saying about what he's learned with this coaching staff to better his game. And you're actually seeing that on the field. So it's not like a lot of these players aren't getting better. It's just that some just wasn't able to navigate through this system and the coaching for whatever the reason may be. I'm not just talking about Jahan. It's some other players that are in the same boat of not catching on or grasping this offense. And Kingsbury offense, I can't say that it's easy, hard, or whatever, because he hasn't thrown everything in there. But I do know that this coaching staff has spent most of the time they've been here in coaching these guys up. Classroom was first. And then they come out on the field of what they see and try to correct it. Because that's the thing people don't realize is that it's not, let's go back into the film room and show you and work through it. They actually point it out. And then the next day they come back to put that what they saw and correct it on the field of play. So that's the reason why I say that if you can't get it with this coaching staff and what they're trying to do, because they're taking it elementary, A, B, C, D. If you can't grab a hold to that, you can't grab a hold of nothing.
I want to put out what Deluxe said. He said that the average NFL player turnover each year is 33%. This team turned over 60%, but all teams reconstruct their teams to a certain extent every year. You make the moves needed to get better.
I can't say it no better than that.
Yeah.
Better.
So, hey, Donna, so, I mean, just today, I'm just interested to know the vibe of, like, from the players with Jahan leaving. Well, what's the vibe? Like, what was, like, the emotions for certain players?
Everybody was kind of like, whoa. I mean, I think some players probably knew because you're looking at your teammates all the time. And you understand at this stage that some things may be happening, because this is the thing. We may not be in the room hearing what's going on. So I'm thinking that some of these players had picked up some things anyway, and they may have been kind of like, oh, you know what, this may happen. Now, did they think it will happen right now? Probably not. But, everybody was saying, giving Jahan accolades as far as the player that he is, the teammate that he was. I mean, he was outstanding. Every time I asked him for an interview, he gave the interview. And he was that kind of class act as far as just a nice person to be around. But the players, they understand that. Tressway talked about, when he got cut and ended up with another team. It happens to the greatest of players. But the key thing is, when it happens to you, what are you going to do with your next opportunity? Is this a learning situation? It should be, because you can learn the fact that anybody can be cut no matter who you are. So I think that they felt that, gosh, we're losing a great guy that has been on this team that we were teammates with, most of them for these 3 years. But they understand that this is a business at the end of the day. But they had nothing but great things to say about Jahan.
So, Donna, would you say that, I mean, obviously Jahan's gone, so it is what it is. But, his replacement on the depth chart, I'm looking at Diami outside, Terry outside. Is it going to probably be Olamide on the inside?
Olamide.
I'm Nigerian. So I say I'm Nigerian. So I say his name correct. That's the Olamide. Olamide. That's his name.
Olamide's the key. Let me tell you, he kind of like worked with me in saying his name. But yeah, he is the guy that, and to make it easy, he just said, say OZ.
OZ, yeah, OZ. Zacchaeus. George Thomas Zacchaeus.
I think that, Zacchaeus. But I think that he is going to be. That's a mouthful right there.
I know, right?
He's going to be the guy that it has been inserted. He already was.
I know, right? Yeah.
He has really stepped it up. And when you watch, I saw him catch a punt return the other day, and he didn't even let it drop. He just grabbed the ball out of the air. Lake Lewis and I was talking about that. And then he may not be the fastest, but the thing about it is he's quick. And he's quick to get off the line. And so I think that he's the guy that's going to be moving into that spot right now. Now, on down from there, we don't know who's going to actually emerge as those next guys. But I just think that the Commanders are going to bring in another receiver. They just don't. And I think they're already looking at who that person might possibly be.
Yeah, I do. I think that I don't know. You can find somebody good in terms of the cut down. In terms of, I put George back in.
There there are some undrafted,
like under the undrafted. I mean,
there are not undrafted, but there are some receivers out there that have not signed their contract yet that they're holding now.
them dudes are not coming over here.
Hey Wally, you never thought that they would.
CeeDee Lamb is not coming over here, man.
They would trade Jahan either, right?
That's true, but CeeDee Lamb is not coming over here.
Possible.
The Cowboys are not trading Washington CeeDee Lamb. I know that one.
Barry Jones would probably strangle himself.
I know that is a guarantee. He will not. Yeah, all right. That's one player. Cass Allen is a running back. I told y'all he's a running back. I told y'all I saw him. He's rarely used as wide receiver. Barely.
I don't think
Cass makes his team though.
I think Cass got a good chance now. Don, you think Cass makes the team?
No.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so neither.
No. Who's gonna beat out? Wally, who is gonna beat out?
I think Cass gonna go running back. I didn't see was Wally out there today? Was Wally out there today? Because I didn't see him out there last time.
But no, who is he gonna beat out at running back? They already got their
Who's the three? Who's three?
Wally's the third one.
Wally wasn't out there the other day when I was there. That's why it's wild. When I was there, Wally wasn't out there.
Is it Ingram?
You talking Wally? You talking about? Oh, you talking about Nichols?
Nichols. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody. Yeah. Well, I don't think Wally may not make the team. Not what I was watching.
So Nichols to me has been getting. Look at Nichols in the previous preseason game. He's the one who got the most touches when the starters went out.
I don't know what I'm saying. Wally was not. I was surprised. Wally was not getting. Not when I looked at it. Not when I was like watching camp. Hey Ray, you got the next one?
All right, yes, sir. That's what I was waiting for. Donna, Drake May. Some people wanted him on this Commanders team, but of course he's with the New England Patriots. They come to town for the final preseason game. Jaden Daniels, his status is up in the air. We expect a decision to come by tomorrow from Dan Quinn. What do you expect? Is Jaden Daniels going to play in this final preseason game? Wole is the only one in Commanders Nation saying yes, play him.
No, I can't change my mind now.
Wally, I'm with everybody should play. Everybody should play at least.
See, what I'm talking about.
The first half. Because they haven't proven that. I mean, they're still trying to navigate through this offense, and I haven't seen anything great yet. So why wouldn't I play? I understand people say we don't want to get hurt or whatever, but because you won last preseason game, you've got to play your starters at least the first half, and then you set them down.
Here.
See, look, man. People see. That's what Donna. That's why Donna. Sometimes we disagree, but then we get back together. That's what I'm talking about.
I agree with him playing, but not the first half. Play him a quarter, because what you don't get in the first quarter, you're not going to make up in the second in the second quarter or the third quarter. First quarter is what you look at, because again, you still have to evaluate the other players on this roster, and we don't know anything yet. They don't know anything yet. So if you give the starters the first half, that means you only have 2 quarters to evaluate the rest of these guys where you got to go make cuts.
Hey, look, they know already for the most part.
Who they going to keep? They do kind of know.
It's only a few players. It's only a few players that they're still looking at. But this is my thing. If they're not really, if that first quarter, and if I don't see solid play, you're playing the second quarter too, because if they're struggling in that first half, because they didn't even score touchdowns last week. So if they're struggling in that first half, and if I don't see solid play of what I'm looking for out of the starters, you're playing the first half.
Yeah. Hey, Paul, no, he's not going to play. Coleman's not going to play.
No, they're because Coleman today. I mean,
was he working
along? But I think that they're going to make sure
he's good. Yeah,
100% for opening day. So I don't see Coleman playing. In that last preseason game, and this is a guy that they need to be on the field when opening.
I know he's like I've heard he's like their second best offensive lineman.
And let me tell you, Coleman is solid.
Donna, you don't hype the offensive lineman. That's one thing you tell the truth about the offensive lineman.
Yeah, I've been watching him, and he has really stepped up. I mean, he is a solid player all the way around. Finally, they got a solid offensive lineman, but I think that again, you play them starters unless if they struggling out of the blocks, they staying in that whole half.
My man, DA said Linnell mentioned on his latest podcast that they should go through the routine of a night game schedule and play some of that the process Cincinnati Monday night football game won't be so that the Monday night football game won't be a surprise.
You know what? They got to get past the first game. They shouldn't even be.
They're worried about week 1, right, Donna?
They were. I ain't worried about no week 2. They got to worry about week 1.
They got to worry about week 1. Let it be known.
I mean, why do you need a dress rehearsal for the Monday night game? You don't need that. You better be worrying about the game the first game of the season, and stop looking ahead to Cincinnati about dress rehearsal. So that's just my take, is that they got to worry about week by week by week.
Oh, so here you go. I got this question about what
The
Tampa
Bay's game is a late game, so everybody's gonna be watching that.
It's a late game. It's not 1 o'clock game.
It's at
4:25.
It's at 4. Oh, dang. Yeah. Okay.
So right there, you're already playing on prime time. Your first game of the season in Tampa, that's going to be blistering hot. If it's anything like Miami, oh my gosh, you better bring out air conditionings and so forth, because that's why they said that it was great to be in Miami, because that's the kind of heat you're going to be feeling in Tampa.
Todd said, tell me what he's going to learn in the last game. He's talking about Jaden Daniels playing against a team that won't show anything, and he was an offense won't show anything. I heard the Patriots are playing their starters though. I heard the Patriots probably playing. I heard they playing their starters, so that's a good bump. I'm sorry, that is a good bump.
Hey, but you know what Jaden Daniels can learn? Mm-hmm. He's still learning as a quarterback, as a rookie quarterback. So every chance that he gets to go up against another team that's not his own team, to see different looks.
I've been agreed with that, yeah.
Thank you.
I agree with that.
That's what he's going to do.
I agree with you, Donna. I preach that all the time. Timothy Park said there's another move coming for a wide receiver. I don't know. Well, I mean, I think the only wide receiver, I ain't gonna lie, I could see him getting. I mean, you could probably get. I think you can probably.
No, they're not gonna get him. Adam Peters already.
I don't even want Ayuk.
Adam Peters already know probably the headache that he might be in Washington, because if they wanted him,
Amari Cooper,
they would have already touched him. So again, I think a wide receiver move is still in the making. I like Amari Cooper.
You like Amari Cooper?
I do like him.
I love Amari Cooper. I'm sorry. If they got Amari Cooper, that would be awesome. I won't even lie.
Help him, and can he help them? Absolutely.
Definitely.
Probably not as much as some of those other names we know out there that haven't signed with their teams.
Yeah, but if they got Amari, yeah. So Donna, I guess this is my question to you. So do you think? All right, say they're not playing like Jade or whoever. But is there a competition like the wide receiver competition? You think OZ has that spot locked, or is there could the last game jolt that any which way?
No, he's got that. I think he's a sure money to make that team. Now the other position is at the cornerback position, where they still have concerns there. I think that they're still trying to solidify who's going to be, the starters there. I still a lot of question marks beyond Mike what is it? Sanderstill. Beyond Mike Sanderstill, I think that everybody. I mean, I think he's been your best cornerback
by far.
I think he's been your best player. So I think that. Michael Davis, St. Juice, and all of those guys beyond those, who's next? But we talked about the safety position. It is so solid, the safety position, because
it is good though.
Really strong. And everybody was talking about Jeremy Reeves. They said, "Oh, he may not make it," but let me tell you, today he's making that team, because I saw him make hits on the tight ends today. Hurts. And I mean, he caused him. He missed. He got in there and made him miss a couple of balls.
Oh wow!
Saw him, he was really physical. I was like, nah, Jeremy Reeves ain't going nowhere. And plus, he's a solid special teams player. But I think that they can use him. He's a guy that they can use in multiple positions, but they so strong at safety that, again, Dan Quinn talked about that's one of the strongest area is the tight end and the safety position. But, the cornerback position, they're still trying to figure that out.
Cornerback position is weak.
Yeah, go ahead, Glenn. You got anything you want to add on?
Just add what she said. The safety position may be strong, the tight end position may be strong, but guess what? If you can't cover anybody, you're chasing points all day long. And with the receivers that's in the division, Washington can't afford not to cover.
That's true.
Let me tell you, the defensive pressure up front has been. They were talking about they have to get a lot of more pressure to force turnovers or whatever. Let me tell you, because of that secondary, the cornerback position, they're going to have to be aggressive up front because they're going to have to make sure that quarterbacks don't have a lot of times to throw because otherwise they're going to be in trouble.
No, I agree. So Donna, who are some of your players that are on the bubble, that need a good game on Sunday?
I still think that Forbes has to
make the team.
I mean, to me, did Jahan teach you anything?
Yeah, I'm just asking you. I'm just saying. I was asking you. He get traded, right? I mean, I get that. But you said Davis ain't that much better than Forbes, Donna. You even told me like Davis ain't better than Forbes either.
Davis to me, to be a veteran, I haven't seen that yet from him as far as a player that he's going to be. But I think that they're happy with him because of the fact that he is a veteran.
Okay.
And, I think Forbes, they said that he had a solid practice or a game last week, but that's just two times. So I think that will they cut him? I don't know because guess what? Nobody is safe. I keep telling people
they'll trade him.
No one is safe on this team.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say. I think the tight ends, do they keep 2, 3? Do they keep 4? John Bates has stepped up and played really well. Hurts, what can you say about him? Hurts is hurt. But Bates has stepped up. Ben Bennett is not going anywhere. So that means that
Turner
is out? Maybe not, because right now I think they like all of those guys because this is the thing, because they're still trying to figure out the wide receiver group, they're going to use their tight ends a lot. And not only that, they're going to need those tight ends for blocking purposes with that offensive line. So you keep all 4 of those tight ends probably. But it's hard to say. I mean, the linebacker position, I think they're kind of like solid there.
Yeah.
I think those key guys, McGee is, the good news is that it's not a season ending injury for him. Coach Quinn said that they see him being back this year because this is a guy that had played well. Tyler Owens, we talked about him. He's really played well also. So some of these younger guys that we haven't mentioned a lot of, those are the guys that are making plays right now. So it may be some prizes. I think they're going to have a tough decision come cut down day about some players that, are named players that may not be on this roster come next year.
Well, so Don, I do have a question. Did you get a chance to see did the kicker, K York, did he kick anything
I don't
today?
recall seeing him today,
Okay.
but I know that they were out there fielding kicks and whatever, but I was so focused on some other stuff that was going on. But again, that's an area, because I think that when they had cut Raleigh
Patterson,
that they brought him in, and somebody was kicking. I just didn't pay attention to that. Look, I was too busy trying to look at some of the other area, and then not only that, I spent half of practice talking about Jahan and that situation. That was such a buzz out there.
I bet it was.
That every time everybody was huddled in practice today. I mean, talking about that, I think half the time we wasn't even paying attention to practice, but we were talking so much about Jahan's situation.
Yeah. Paul has a question. He said, Paul's question: Who would you rather have backing up Martin, Reeves or Owens?
Ooh, wow.
That's a good question.
I think they both are good because Reeves, with the experience, but I'm telling you, Owens.
Yeah, I know you like Owens. I know you like Owens.
He's really played well. When I
know you like Owens.
He made the most of his opportunity. I mean, you can see him. He's a playmaker. He's in there. When you look at him, even in game situations, you look. If you didn't know his number or name, you'd be saying, "Who is number 40? Who is number 40 making plays?" Because you see him all over the place in games making plays. And so I like both of those players, and I think that they can utilize both of them to back up Martin.
So my man Mike said we need to worry about St. Jude's. Why people don't talk about St. Jude's like he ain't in trouble? Like he ain't somebody like he don't need to be like he can't be like what like he's safe.
No, well, I think he is safe. I think.
Okay, you think he's safe? Okay, but why is he safe? I guess that's my question. Why is he safe?
I mean, who else is? I mean, you gotta go when you gotta go there because you ain't got no backup.
I'm just saying, like just like we talk bad about Forbes, I think we can talk the same way about St. Jude's.
No, St. Jude's ain't in the same conversation. Don't even go there.
Oh no, hey, oh no, daughter.
No, he ain't. You can't go down there. You can't put St.
That man gets burnt.
He's gonna give you 15 every game. You're gonna get a 15 yard. You're gonna get a 15 yarder from St. Jude's every game.
He'll get you a pass interference. He'll get a 40 yarder basically.
He'll get you a pass interference every game.
Yeah, every game. That man is like he's reliable.
And then do a seatbelt celebration when somebody overthrows the wide receiver.
That's one of those celebrations every time he gets touched.
Put him on the sideline off away from the team. Put him seatbelt him in the first train out of Washington.
That's what I said. Mike has been having the solid camp. So I mean, not Michael Davis, but I think rookie, yeah.
Oh, Mikey's been the one. Mikey's been the one. Mikey's been the best.
Yeah, Mike Sanders still.
Yeah, he's been the best.
Been solid. So I think again, we talked about this in the beginning. The cornerback position is one that they're still trying to put bodies, figure out, and hoping that it may be a diamond in the rough out there when cut down day come for other teams. Because I still look. You think about it. Whenever you have cut down day across the NFL, you're looking at a lot of players that you like. Man, they got cut. So I think it's going to be some people out there that the Commanders will be able to grab. Cornerback is one of the toughest ones. Ain't nobody letting go of those because they're hard to come by. But I think
exactly
other players out there that teams say, well, we're not keeping this player. So there may not be your top starters, but I think they'll be able to help the team. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see at the end of the day who stays and who goes. As I say, cut down day is coming. So you be like, so for some of those players.
It is crazy. Hey, Donna.
I'm not being cut.
Oh. Hey, Donna. Hey, before we go, y'all got questions for Donna before we let her go?
I have one. And it's more backing up what she said about Jaden needing to play. If we're going to figure out who's going to be the receivers behind, I guess, Diami and Terry, doesn't Jaden need to play at least a little bit in game 3 to kind of help us figure that out?
Absolutely. And guess what? I still say that even with him, trying to still connect to his receivers, get comfortable with his receivers and so forth, he just needs to be able to see other defenses and the disguises that they're going to be throwing at him throughout the season. Because remember, he hasn't seen everything that NFL schemes will bring at him. And the more that he's able to see that kind of stuff, the better he's going to be prepared for the season. So it's a must for him to play for both reasons.
And I do agree, like you said, Donna, something earlier. Go ahead, Glenn. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying it's gonna be vanilla. New England's not gonna throw anything that nobody else haven't seen. It's gonna be vanilla defense because they're moving into their regular season. Even if you play the starters, it's gonna be your basic defense. Yeah,
there's a question.
It's a basic defense, but the thing about it is he's still got to get some of that because he's still learning. People think that just he's able to get the balls in there, but how does he navigate in that red zone area against other teams that are the Commanders? So that's the reason why I said whether they're going to be vanilla or not throwing everything at him, it's going to be enough that they're going to throw at him.
Yeah, and the most important thing for me is just like it's going against competition when you know when there's a chance for you to get hit as a quarterback. It's easy when you're wearing a yellow shirt. It's easy when you're wearing a yellow shirt where you don't think you're going to be touched or whatnot. So it's just easy.
When the pass rush comes.
Yeah. When the pass rush comes, you're okay. You know you're wearing yellow. You're safe. You know what I mean?
The audible that he threw to that's some of the stuff that he can work on too. That it may present itself. So it's not so much of what they're going to always throw at him. It's just working through your offense to get stronger.
All right, so Paul has a question for you, Donna. He says, do you see another surprising cut or trade?
Yeah.
Do you want to name it? Because that's what he wants.
I'm not saying who it is, but I cannot give up
don't want to jinx something, dog.
But I'm never surprised about, with this team, what just happened, because I'm just looking like anything can happen. Because,
It's going to be a lot of household names on that. There's going to be a lot of household names on the cut list. People that we're used to in Washington that's no longer going to be there.
Well, I just saw the question that came up, or the statement that came up about it's embarrassing to see these
I
and whatever. But think about it when you look at
Timothy
Rivera draft class. Who's left? Who was even left? Who worked out among that? I'm not saying that. I mean, that whole class, as far as his draft class.
Jamin's still there. That's it, and he made out. Quan Martin and Forbes. Quan's the one that looks like he's gonna work out.
Yeah, so those are going to work out. But when you think about the years that Ron Rivera was here and all the draft picks, that they're literally not here anymore. So you got to be able to just move past that. And I think people put too much into number one draft picks, because some of the later round draft picks end up being better as far as, playing wise. So sometimes the number one draft picks don't always work out. So I tend not to really look at those numbers of number one draft pick or whatever. I tend to look at, are players producing? And that's to me is the bottom line. We just put too much focus on those top draft picks because some of them fall apart and can't they can't move from college. How many times we saw in basketball and all of those sports about number one draft picks, and they never work out, some of them, some of the later round people. So I'm okay with number one, you didn't work out. If number two worked out better and they made my team better, I don't have a problem.
That is true. I'm gonna Ray said acknowledge Paul, so I'm acknowledge Paul. He said, "Hey Donna, we both was right about Jahan." So I'm acknowledge you, Paul.
But
you're right about Jahan. There you go.
That's the sad thing about Ron's picks, right? People who he could have picked ahead of Jahan, people he could have picked ahead of Forbes.
Please don't get me started. You're gonna make me explode right there.
All those people are excelling in their areas and on other teams. So which lets you know that they didn't pick correctly for this Washington Commanders team.
But send Ron Rivera his ring. Don't forget that. Send Ron Rivera his ring, he said.
Jeez. Don't get me started on Rodriguez. I mean, as far as Gonzalez. Do not, that is like a sore subject, because draft-wise, I had him on the top of the leaderboard coming to this team, and he was available. So I'm not for sure what, and you can't find cornerbacks of his caliber, strong, big, physical, got all the attributes that you would want in a cornerback. So he was there for the picking for this team. So I don't understand, how they let him go past.
Yeah, that's Ron Rivera doing Ron Rivera things. That's why I call it.
That's a sore spot. It's almost like a scab that.
It's like
that never heals.
Yeah, it's like that's typical Ron Rivera. Hey Donna, thanks for being on. Before we let you go, how can folks catch you on social media And also, how can they catch your content on YouTube? And also, how can they catch your show? It will be airing soon, right? The season's about to start.
They can catch all the contents and everything for the podcast in the minute, and also Tony McGee's Pro Football Plus on our YouTube channel in the minute, and Tony McGee's Pro Football Plus. You can catch it on both of those. We kick off the season the first Monday of the 8th, I think, is the first Monday after the first regular season game. We'll be back with all the crew, Tony, Gary, Alex, and then they can catch me on social media. D Hop
on Instagram. DJ Hop. What's it? DJ Hop. DJ Hop.
And
right?
then DJ Hop as far as on the other ones. But just type in Donna Hopkins.
Yeah, type in Donna Hopkins on. It's actually I'm gonna do it for Donna. On X it's at Donna Hopkins _. I mean it's underscore. Yeah. So on X is at Donna Hopkins _. I know Donna's.
I'm being active on X.
Yeah, exactly. So so she's out there now. She had great content on her YouTube, on the YouTube channel. She got awesome interviews. So y'all gotta go to the Tony McGee's.
Jameson Crowder.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
So Jameson Crowder just dropped today, and he said that he has done enough, that he thinks that he's going to make this team, and I agree with him. So. Yeah. Go out there on In the Minute and check out that just dropped today.
Yeah, it's like especially during training camp, it's like a bunch of great interviews. So y'all got to check them out. Like you got Jameson Crowder, Jamin Davis, you got Terrell, you got Terrell, you got Owens, right? You got Owens too, right? Yeah, Owens. She has all of them. So if y'all want to get some good content, the real good content, the long, decent interviews, go to our YouTube channel. It's awesome.
KJ Henry is tomorrow, so you gotta catch.
Okay, she got KJ, and KJ was playing when I was there. He was practicing with the first team defense.
Yeah.
So this just FYI.
KJ showed us a little bit last year of what he could do.
Yeah. Well, Donna, thank you for being on. Appreciate it. All right.
Fellas, great.
Bye, Donna.
Bye, Donna.
Hey Ray, you was too quiet after you didn't talk too much about you disappeared on us.
Nah, I was chopping it up with the fellas in the chat.
He was in the chat.
I know that you were hurt, but come on, you don't get mad at us.
Then don't get mad at Ron then. You know what I'm saying? Leave Ron alone. He gone. if you got to let go of the past, I'm gonna let go too. Okay.
Look, I already let go of the past. And trust me, it was let go last year after it was over.
All right, Donna. Bye. Oh man, Donna's cool, man.
How's she gonna say I got quiet? You know it's hard to get a word in with Donna Wole. Sheesh.
No. That was because everybody kept all the comments.
Oh no.
So many comments.
I was having fun with the fellas, man. You know,
all the comments.
It was dope.
I almost wanted to hit her with the Redskins magazine plus. I love that show.
About those goes. Donna's laughing. She heard it. She can hear it.
I love that show. I was a regular watcher.
She loving it. Donna's loving it too. Donna's loving it. I can see in the background. Oh man, hey, this has been a dope show. I appreciate everybody.
Oh man, I couldn't. Donna killed Jahan today, man. She was like, get him out of here.
There's some Penn State Red Commanders fans that are hurting tonight. Oof.
Hey, to be honest, they killed him after the Philly game and they wanted to get rid of him, and so he's never recovered from that.
So, and what's wild? He don't really. If you count the drops he has during the season, it's not that many drops last year.
It's not that many drops.
It's just that
situations, right?
Yeah, it's that game. It's that Eagles game. That's what it is. It's that Eagles game, bro. It's that Eagles game. No one will ever forget that Eagles game. I ain't gonna lie to you. I haven't forgotten that Eagles game. Only hold y'all.
I guess Forbes is in the same boat then, right?
I mean, to be real, I feel like he can get traded now. Like everybody, I feel like it could happen.
No, but again, when you come in as a coach, you gotta clean the house. You gotta have people who want your attitude, right? Yeah. I said it last year and I say it all the time. People take on a persona of their head football coach or their position coach. They take on their persona, they take on their attitude. And if you can't adapt to that program, and he can't adapt there, and Kingsbury thought that he wasn't getting far enough, and Dan Quinn signed off on it. So at the end of the day, wish Jahan the best. What they say in WWE,
on your future endeavors.
His future endeavors, right?
Yeah, future endeavors.
His future.
What's the best in his future endeavors, man?
Well, in your future endeavors, right?
Yeah. So
I mean, in this case, you get to see him twice.
Yeah, exactly. So hey, if he's a competitor, you make him want to forget the day they did it. That's how it is.
That secondary in practice, he'll torch that secondary.
I ain't gonna hold you. That's the only thing I'm saying. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if folks could tell. Yo, anybody could torch these corners though. I can't hold you. Anybody.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this way: Jahan would eat very well when they play Washington because again, you got AJ Brown, Devontae Smith.
They gonna be worried about them. I know.
Again, Javon will eat well.
So he should. Yeah. If he has his confidence. Oh no, what? Mikey on him? Nah, never that. Well, Mikey may be real talk. Paul. Mikey may not be on Jahan. Mikey may follow the best. Mikey was checking. So I heard Mikey was checking Tyreek Hill on some in Miami and did a decent job. Mikey may not be on. They may not waste Mikey on
Jahan.
Not. Be real with you. They may not. I mean, dude, we just talked about St. Juice and freaking Emmanuel Forbes. Come on, man. What are you doing? Hey, subscribe to our podcast. I'm gonna reiterate it anyway. Subscribe to our podcast on iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Just search All Burgundy and Gold Everything. Also, tweet us at ABG_everything. Hit us up on IG at ABG_everything. And like our All Burgundy and Gold Everything Facebook page. If you're watching this on YouTube and you're a first-time viewer of All Burgundy and Gold Everything, hit that red subscribe button, like this video.
Like,
trying to get to 500. We almost there now. We almost in the building. We out there early. So make sure you do it. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate the support from all of y'all because you all have been awesome during this whole episode. Anything y'all want to add before I close this out? No? All right. Anyway. All right, cool. You've been listening to All Burgundy and Gold Everything, powered by the Urban Sports Scene and Fox Sports Radio, 96.9 FM and 1340 AM, Hopewell, Virginia. For ages, you dig? Deuces, we are out.